person I've been talking to about beekeeping, rang me and said, I've got a clump of bees, would you like them? I didn't have a bee suit, I didn't have any of the other gear I needed, but I said yes because I'm crazy. And so I went and collected these bees off him and put them, he loaned me a little hive and I put them in my backyard. I've been keeping bees ever since. So at 71 years of age, I was 70. Yeah, I was 70, nearly 71. I decided that I was going to become an apiarist. So I've now got a beehive in my backyard, and I've got 3 other hives that are in other people's backyards, and I look after. So I want to show you the latest beehive that I've collected and how I collected it. Would you like to see that? Yeah. All right. Well, show us the pictures, and we'll see what comes up here. So this is me, the beekeeper. Do you like it? So I guess I have acquired a suit now, and gloves. And by the way, I'm here to tell you that the gloves don't work. I don't know whether you can see some of you near can see the little red dot on my thumb there. Well, that was a bee sting I got on Thursday. And then on Friday, I got one on the back of my head. But I wasn't wearing the bee sting there. But I was wearing the gloves when I got that. She poked it down through the leather glove. Got me. Okay, show me it now. So I've got a friend who lives in Victor Harbour where I live, and he rang me and he said, I've got a possum box up a gum tree down in my front yard. He said, it's got bees in it. And I reckon they've been in there about 3 years. And he'd heard that I was a beekeeper, you see, and he said, do you want them? So I went round and had a look at this. Now, honestly, even if you weren't a beekeeper, would you be interested in that? That's over 4 metres. Well, it's all right for you people who are under 20. I'm over 70, you know. What? It's over 4 metres in the air, this jolly thing. And I'd actually helped him take a bird box down out of a tree that was only 2 metres up, and that was hard enough because he screws them to the tree and they're really hard to get off. And so I got pictures of myself up a ladder, hugging this box full of bees, trying to get it off the tree. Well, you can see what's going to happen there, you know. The whole thing's going to end up on the ground, isn't it? So okay, show me the next picture. So I decided that the safe way to do this was to make a homemade scaffold. Are you liking it so far? So this was my arrangement for getting this down. And I have to say that my friend did nothing to help except stand on the ground and encourage me. So I'm serious. I built that bit of scaffolding and he leaned his ladder against it. And then I discovered when I started to climb the ladder that he leaned against it, the scaffold started sliding down the hill. So we screwed a coach bolt into the tree up in the middle of all that woodwork there to stop it moving forward. So that was my safety chain, right? And up I went and tried to get this high box off, and you can see I've already leant it to one side because when I got it all set up and started to climb up on it, I realised that the ladder, the step ladder that's up on the box there, that I was going to climb up was actually leaning against the box and out at an angle like this. So it's all very complicated. Anyway, next picture. Show me the next picture. So we tied a rope around it and I got it down on the scaffold. Next picture. And took it home. And the next morning, I built myself a bee vacuum. Can you see that there's a black tube running into a box? So I built that so that I could do this work. So what you do is you suck all the bees up into a beehive and you connect the whole thing. I've got a vacuum thing connected to that box. So it sucks the bees into the box. Yeah. Next one. That's the beehive. Show me the next one. In the box, that's the entrance. They built a comb over it. Next. Another one of the comb inside the box. And this is about the 5th panel of honeycomb and breeding honeycomb that I cut out of this box. And show me the next one now. That's a piece of the honeycomb that I've got out of it. Well, actually, this left-hand piece with all the bees on it is where the queen has laid eggs, and they've been hatching out, and that, you see the little yellow caps? That's all sealed bees growing inside, like an egg grows, like a chicken grows in an egg. But over on the right-hand side here, can you see this white capping, it's called? That's honey. So, one of the reasons I've shown you this, I'm done with that, I think, unless there's another picture. I don't think there is. Oh, yeah, there is. So this is a picture I took just the other day of a queen bee. Can you see there's one bee there that's different? Can you see that? So that's the queen in the hive I have in my own backyard. And it's the first time in just over a year that I've actually seen a queen in one of my hives. So I'm pretty excited about that. Would you be excited about that, over you? Because she's key, you see. She lays all the eggs and breeds all the bees. I think we are done now, aren't we? Yeah. Sure. Is there another one? No. Are we done?
It's done.
You can turn me off. Thank you. The reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because taking the beehive out of this possum box was the first time that I've been able to harvest honey from bees. So there was more in this box than I could put in a proper hive box, which I've now got at a friend's place. So we basically have control of those bees now, and they will make honey, and we'll be able to harvest the honey off it. But on the way of putting it in the box, there was surplus honeycomb that could not go in that box. And so I had all this lovely sealed honeycomb that I extracted about 1.5 litres of honey from. And we still have a good bit of a jar of that honey at home. And along the way, what we were able to do was eat some honeycomb. And that is just... Has anyone here eaten honey out of a honeycomb? Just chewed a honeycomb? Yes, a few of you have. Anyone here a beekeeper? So I'm careful not to declare my ignorance in the matter, you know. So I was able to eat honey out of the honeycomb, which I hadn't done since I was a little boy at my uncle's place. He was an apiarist. So that was pretty exciting for me. And that brings me into the subtitle I have for what I'd like to share with you today. So my proper title is Called to Spread. Yes? And now you're beginning to suspect why you have honey and bread on some of the tables. Yes? You're beginning to think, what's he up to here? So my subtitle for this morning, so the title that I was given was Called to Serve, but my subtitle is this, based on the psalm that we read earlier. My subtitle is Living the Sweet Life. Living the Sweet Life. And I want to just read to you again out of that psalm so we can see what it says. I bless God every chance I get. My lungs expand with his praise. Well, why is David saying that? Well, clearly, he has had such a powerful experience of God in his life that this is how he lives. Something has happened in David's life that helps him to tell us that this is how he lives. I bless God every chance I get. My lungs expand with his praise. I live and breathe God. Now, just in case you have any doubt about this, that what David is saying here is built on something that's gone on in David's life. He just didn't kind of decide that he was going to praise God, that was how he was going to do life. No. Something radical and life-changing happened to David maybe more than once, and as a result of that, this is how he lives. He cannot live any other way. Because trust me, if you live like this, people are going to think you're odd. Oh, he's a God botherer, you know? Yeah? I mean, in the world I live in, that's not normal to be a person who goes, God is fantastic. I love living in the presence of God. God is so good to me. It's not the kind of conversation that you would normally have in your normal knockabout life. Then he says, join me in spreading the news. Together, let's get the word out. Why? Why? See? So I was brought up, when the church I grew up in, the reason we thought we should spread the good news was out of obligation and because we cared about them. And they're not bad reasons, but they're not the reason David does it. The reason David does it is because he is enjoying the sweet life and he can't help but tell people about it. Am I making sense to anyone? Yeah? Do you see that actually the call to spread is built on our own experience, our own life-changing, joy-giving, peace-giving experience of God? Yes? So the place to aim in this isn't, I must tell people about Jesus. That's not the place to aim. Yeah? The place to aim is to find your way, or to cultivate, find your way into or cultivate an experience of God that you can't keep quiet about. Yeah? Thank you. Do that. Yeah. So that's what's happened to me. But now, it kind of happened to me by accident. And I think I've shared this story here before, so I'll just briefly say this. Well, perhaps I should begin by asking, is there anyone here who's ever had an experience in their life that was really awful? Anyone here had a really awful experience? Anyone? Oh, there are some people who've had really awful. Well, what a surprise! You know. You see, awful experiences come with the human condition. Yeah? They do indeed. You know, people leave without asking, is what I say. I say this when I go and meet families in preparation for a funeral. You know, I say to a widow, how dare they leave without asking me? So people leave without asking. People die. It's horrible. Sometimes our children die. Sometimes women lose babies. These are horrible things. Sometimes people misunderstand us and are mean to us and say things to others about us that undermine our reputations and make us feel unsafe and very unhappy and destroy good things in our lives. I've had these things happen to me. I've lost people who meant the world to me, and at my age it's happening more and more, and I don't much like it. You know, I'm kind of check the paper each day to see who's gone now and if I'm still here to be experiencing it. You know, it's my time of life. There are all kinds of things that can happen to us. We can be injured. We can end up with really serious injury that is life-changing. All kinds of things can go wrong in our lives. Now, what happened to me was that God worked in me as a young man a desire to have a good relationship with God. I did not have a good relationship with God, but God worked a desire in me for that. And I wasn't very good at it. And God conspired in my life to bring me to the end of myself. And that was through some very painful experiences and loss that happened over about 15 years. And when I came to the end of myself in my 30s, I cried out for the first time ever in my life from the bottom of my heart and asked God to help me in my misery and my sense of being trapped and lost. And God intervened. My life was changed on the inside in a really radical way as a result of that. Now, what's happened since then, in the intervening 35 years or so, is that I have had other crises in my life. So crises and unpleasantness still happen. But now what I do is I turn to God in my need. So one of the questions I ask is, when things go badly wrong in my life, which they do, is what is there of God in this for me? And see, that's a whole different way to see things. Well, it's a God-centered approach to crisis. Yes? A God-centered approach to crisis. What is there of God in this for me? So I look to see what God wants to do in my life when things go really badly wrong, when things get really unpleasant. And what that has done over 35 years of habitually doing that is that I have become more and more secure in my reliance on God. Because each time I do it, I discover that God is still good, that he is still able, that I can still know that he loves me, know that I'm forgiven, feel his comfort in my soul. And see, this is clearly what's happened to David. In fact, if you know something of David's story, you know that's true. That when he says, I live and breathe God, if things aren't going well, hear this and be happy. Join me in spreading the news. Together let's get the word out. God met me more than halfway. He freed me from my anxious fears. Look at him. Give him your warmest smile. Never hide your feelings from him. He got here through tough. Just as I have. And just as you have. Many of you here this morning know what I'm talking about here. You are living the sweet life. Because you've discovered that the tougher it gets, the better your experience of God can be. And there's a great mystery in life. If we ask that question, now, what is there of God in this for me? Then he says, when I was desperate, I called out, and God got me out of a tight spot. God's angel set up a circle of protection around us while we circle of protection around us while we pray. Then he says this. This is my point. Open your mouth and taste. Open your eyes and see how good God is. It says in, Psalm 19, somewhere else, Psalm 19 verse 10, and Psalm 119 verse 103, it says that God, experiencing God in this way, is like honey or honey from the honeycomb. That's what it says. So this morning, what we're going to do, so that we kind of remember this, I want to help you remember. Some of you have honey on your table. And others of you don't. Anyone not got any honey on their table? Well, then you need to send an emissary to beg for honey from those with honey. So what I'd like you to do, what I've done is set this up so that you need to break bread. You deliberately not put the kind of tools on your table that you need to share the bread together. So I'd like you to get the bread out. I'm going to come down and join you. We're going to all take a little bit of bread and we're going to put some honey on it. Now, have we got gluten-free bread for people? No, we haven't. So, Now, have we got anything they can, well, you can squirt some honey on your finger. No, no. You have a tool on the end of your arm. It's called a finger. Anyone here missing all their fingers? We will come and help you. Squirt some honey on your finger if you don't want it with the bread. But I'd like everyone to share in the experience. So, and if you don't have honey on your table, we've provided you with a bowl, and you can send someone from your table with the bowl to a table that's got honey on it, and they will share their honey with you. Won't they?
This is near enough.
Do we need a knife? Is there a knife?
Leave it there. Next year.
I don't mind getting this because I'm older. We don't mind getting this, do we? We don't mind. This the other one away.
Who are we sending to honey?
There is gluten-free bread on one table at the front for those who like it.
No? Oh, do you? Does honey do it to you? I wondered about that. Anyone in the world in preparation where have you got honey would either be an offensive to someone that's interesting. It's interesting to me. There's way of it.
Now we need to eat bread and honey.
Hey, don't you? Good enough. Oh, man. So my groupies have asked me about using honeycomb for this exercise, so we can do it properly, you know. And yes, we will. So you'll have to ask me back next year. And we'll share some honeycomb together. So I'm going to finish eating my bread, and then I want to close off just with some helpful thoughts about all this. Oh, that's so yummy. We shared. I've got some honeycomb, and we have a young couple living next door to us, lovely people, who kind of regard us as the third set grandparents. Now, three little girls, roughly the age of Chris's kids. And when we got the honeycomb, we took some into them, you know. Got them to break a bit off, have a few. Lovely. See, this is the thing. This is the takeaway. One of the takeaways from this is it's easy to share bread and honey. I didn't have to beg anyone here to do this, did I? Do you see that? That honey and fresh bread are beautiful experiences. They're beautiful experiences. You know, John Wesley, who I know was after Luther, but he deserves a bit of respect, you know. Well, I'm a big fan of John Wesley. John Wesley said a lovely thing. He said that, this is profound, he said that I feel like a beggar who has found bread, and I would show other beggars where to find bread also. Don't you love that? John Wesley, an Oxford man, a man who turned England upside down for the gospel, who went preaching in paddocks against his best judgment. I've been to the Anglican Church in Epworth, in England, out in the country. I don't know which county it's in, can't remember, doesn't matter. Where his dad was the Anglican minister for a great slab of his life, 30 or 40 years I think, and where his father is buried. When John Wesley became famous because of his preaching in paddocks, he asked if he could come and speak. His dad had gone, had died, and his mum. He asked if he could come and preach at the church that his dad had pastored, where he grew up as a boy. And both the town elders and the church elders, which probably then were the same people, refused to have him. Because wherever he went, he made trouble. Yeah, he was a troublemaker, John Wesley. Of course, Martin Luther wasn't a troublemaker. I just thought I'd mention it. They refused to have him. So you know what he did? I love this. He stood, the law in England says that you own, the next of kin, own the parent's grave. He stood on the stone box over his father's burial place and preached in the churchyard. And about 4,000 people came to hear him. I've been to that place. Wonderful. This John Wesley said, I want to say it again, he said, I feel like a beggar who's found bread. You see? And would show other beggars where to find bread also. So the point I want to make this morning is this. I don't want you to feel compelled to spread. Yes, you are called to spread, but you are not compelled to spread. It's not some rule you have to live by. It's not something you should do. No. At least that's not how I live. What I have done over the 35 years since that first crisis experience of God is I have developed the daily habit of living in the presence of God and enjoying it. One of the things that happened to me, and I would invite you to this if you have not experienced it, one of the things that happened to me in my 30s was that I knew for the first time in my life that I was forgiven by God, and I knew that I was loved by Him. Not because I'd read it somewhere, but something on the inside registered with it. It was like a knowing, a weird knowing on the inside. I knew for the first time in my life that I was loved. And this was really important to me because I had grown up not feeling loved. My home life messed with my head and my emotions, and I didn't feel loved. But God gave me an experience of Himself, and I knew I was loved. And it's why you see me standing now in my 70s in front of you. I know I'm loved by God. I know I'm forgiven. I know that the only hope for me is His grace. I mess up every day. I live in His grace. Wonderful. And you see, it's the sweet life. I'm living the sweet life. And people around me, including my agnostic, atheist, shack-reading friend, know that's true. You see, I haven't told him about God yet. I'm waiting for him to ask. I can't believe that he came to my door and wants me to read the shack. You don't have to try, do you? I just go about being myself, and stuff goes on in other people's lives that God is doing, and God directs them to me and to you so that you can be the person He wants you to be in their life. And I'll give you something else too. You can mess up really badly, and if you give it to God, He will turn it into a blessing in another person's life, if you ask Him to. I went round to visit a lady who was coming to my church in the 90s, this was. I wanted her to, I had a job for her. So I walked around there because she lived not far from where I was. And when I got there, her sister was there. Now, I knew nothing about her sister. This lady had not been coming to church long. And I'd never met her sister, didn't know who she was or what she was or any of that stuff. Anyway, I was introduced and we sat around a cup of coffee and talked. And I like to say that Fenella, the sister, picked a fight with me. You know what I mean? It wasn't my fault, you know? I love telling this story in front of her and accusing her of picking a fight with me. So I like to say that she picked a fight with me because I'd promised God, I'd agreed with God that I needed not to argue with people. Yeah? And like a mug, I found myself in an argument with this lady about the existence of God and creation. That's about as dumb an argument as you can have, right? After I left, when I was in the middle of it, I didn't think I was doing anything that was unacceptable. But after I left and I was walking home, the still small voice said to me, "Well, you really mucked that up. I thought we agreed that you weren't going to argue." Yeah? Have you ever had this happen to you? You know, you do something and then the still small voice whispers and says, Friend, no. No. You got it wrong. So, I agreed with God. I said, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. That sounds like confession. You're right, I'm wrong. Then I repented. I said, yes, God, I know, we agreed. And here I am messing up again. And then I had this aha. I think it was the Holy Spirit. Taught me something here, see? God invited me to ask Him to use my mess to bless that lady. And the next Sunday, that lady came to my church. And I know that wasn't because I had done well. See, what's that? I'm an offensive turkey. And she comes to my church. I found out she was a raging alcoholic. She was in so much trouble that her 7-year-old boy would ring his auntie, the lady who was coming to my church, and ask her to go around and try and wake Mummy up. Because Mummy was so drunk, she couldn't get up and make him something to eat. This happened repeatedly. I didn't know any of this. Fenella and I ended up becoming good friends. And I am convinced to this day that that happened not because of who I am, but because of who God is. See? God bless you as you pursue the sweet life. God bless you. And God grants you the wisdom and the ability to see when He is at work in the life of people you meet. God grants you the clarity to be able to respond out of His love for you and for that person called to spread. Thank you for letting me share this with you this morning.
Please stand, and we're going to sing our next song.